Hey guys, what's up? Cody Price back, and today, just a quick, today I watched, went to watch Spider-Man Far From Home in 3D. 3D is not really important, but it was really interesting. Anyway, and we saw the post-credit scene. I didn't, could not really find, the footage, so you're really just gonna have to just go with me here. And if you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spideyverse, you might not want to watch this video until you have. Anyway, so the end credit scene was of Spider-Man and Mary Jane swinging across of New York. After a couple minutes, Spider-Man was after they were done, Mary Jane said, "I didn't base it." Spider-Man jumped onto a light post, and then on like the television, it like you know those big like TV screens or whatever they are. It showed this footage of Mysterio, the villain of the movie, um, he basically made a fake video. He edited a video and he said uh he said he didn't know if he was gonna survive. Spider-Man just turned for some reason. He weaponized some Stark tech. And then Edith uh Edith Edith or whatever her name is, the super glasses, she said, would you like to execute the drone attack? There will be multiple fake casualties. And then Spider-Man said, just do it, I don't care, execute it. Execute them all. Which, you have to admit, sounds pretty bad, but if you watch the movie, you'd understand. And then Jane Jonah Jameson says, I'm going to try to do my best Spider-Man impression. As you can see, you know what I'm saying. Basically, he said Mysterio was the real hero and Spider-Man was the villain. You know, normal shit for him to say. But then, what really caught me off guard was Mysterio then popped up. He said, Spider-Man is... It cuts off. And then it says, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then it just shows a picture of him. And it ends grabbing his head like this. And saying, the fuck. It's really funny to me. But it's definitely interesting because I'm wondering who the villain's gonna be. I have like 3 ideas. So basically, I heard that movie's gonna be called Home Run. Spider-Man Home Run. Which I feel like is really interesting because the first one, Spider-Man Homecoming, there's a homecoming prom or whatever it's called, homecoming dance. Far From Home, he went to like Italy and all that. And then Run From Home Run is where he's home but he's on the run from people. Now who's gonna be the villain? That's who I want to know. Me personally, I was just hoping to see just a scorpion tail just squirt just pop up. And if you don't know what I mean, I'm talking about the villain Scorpion. But anyway, so so this is, I guess you could say it's a top 3, but it's not. I'm not really gonna title it that, as you can tell. So my first idea is Scorpion. Scorpion was made by J. Jonah Jameson, where he was put in a suit where he could kill Spider-Man. Little did Scorpion know that he was stuck in the suit and could not remove it. So he has a full-time hate for Jameson more than does he have a full-time hate for Spider-Man. Now the reason I think it's the reason I think it's Scorpion is because because think about it. Ever since the first 3 movies, J. Jonah Jameson was like never seen a movie. Like after the third Spider-Man, he I don't think he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. 1. He wasn't in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He wasn't in Homecoming. He wasn't in he was in Far From Home? Okay, that was a lie. He wasn't even in Spider-Verse. But anyway. And the only reason Scorpion was made because J. Jonah Jameson wanted someone to hunt and kill Spider-Man. So basically, he got a giant mechanical Scorpion-like suit, and got someone to go inside it. So Scorpion will hunt down Spider-Man, but sometimes he'll also spend his time trying to kill Jameson because he was the one who trapped him in this hell. Just think about it. Being trapped in a suit for eternity he couldn't get out of the suit. He was stuck in the suit. So, could you imagine you getting stuck in a scorpion suit with a mechanical scorpion tail, all because of someone's selfish reasons to kill a person who, with all evidence, pushes him being a good guy. But I feel like Jameson screwed a lot of Spider-Man's bad guys over just for his selfish reasons. Because he gets attacked by Spider-Man's villains a lot. When he was in a movie, in the first Spider-Man with the Goblin, he was attacked by the Goblin. But anyway, that's not what I'm trying. So anyway, what I think's gonna happen, Jameson's gonna want Spider-Man dead because he's a menace in his eyes and in everyone's eyes. So what's gonna happen is he's gonna create Scorpion, and Scorpion's gonna hunt down Spider-Man. But then Scorpion's probably gonna be forced to the realization that he can't get out of the suit, that he's stuck in the suit. And he's gonna go after the man who put him in the suit in the first place. And then Spider-Man's probably gonna chase after Scorpion and try to stop him. Of course, that's my idea. The last time I made a story, a movie, a movie theory, was fucking way far off. And if you're wondering what it was, basically, it was during Endgame. I thought that maybe Thanos would like think about the fact that he killed his daughter, and it's just like the pressure would crush him until he just snapped everyone back. But no, he literally just died in the first like minute in the movie, like first 10 minutes of the movie. Not even, like maybe 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes of the movie. It might be 10. All I know is that it wasn't long till they fucking decapitated him. And don't get mad that I spoiled that. Remember, I told you spoilers. When you see a thing like that, there's gonna be spoilers. So even if you did see Spider-Man Far From Home and didn't see Endgame, I said spoilers. I didn't say they just be Spider-Man spoilers. I said spoilers. Anywho. And the next person, by the way, I just remembered like one other person that I wanted to see in a movie, in the next movie, and that was Rhino. Rhino is portrayed as other giant mutant rhinos, a person spliced with rhino DNA, or a person in a mechanical rhino suit. Either way, he's big, looks like a rhino, and is very, very dangerous. Now, I would like to see Rhino in a movie for one reason. The last time he was in a Spider-Man movie, it was legit for like the ending, and it was literally not even more than 5 or it might have been 1 minute. All I know was that it was bullshit. Literally, it was so intense. Like, I'm not even upset about the fact that they ended the movie off like that. Like I was. Like when I first watched the movie. But what I'm upset about is the fact that they literally, the next Spider-Man they made didn't have Rhino in it. Like, it's literally like you, like, dangling, like, a piece of bacon, like, above a dog. Like, close enough so it can, like, see it, but just far enough where it can barely reach it. Like, literally, like, it's probably not the same, like, it's not as fucking cruel. Like, I heard the last guy, like, did something, the guy who was played Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man. But seriously, like, we all want to see Rhino, like, seriously. Who here doesn't like Rhino? Like, he doesn't even have to be your favorite. Just tell me if you don't like him at all. Like, granted, he's like normal super villains. He's big, and he literally just wrecks things. He's literally the Juggernaut, but he looks like a fucking rhino. What's cool about him, though, is that he fits in with Spider-Man's villain. Because his Spider-Man villains have, like, a theme to them or something. Most of them are animals. Like Scorpion, Rhino, Doc Ock, Vulture. 4 villains that are named after animals. Vulture's named after a bird of prey. Rhino's named after an endangered animal. Scorpion's named after a arachnid with a poisonous sting. And Doc Ock is named after an octopus. I mean, like, it's not the coolest name, but that's why people just call him Doc Ock and not Dr. Octopus. Because Dr. Octopus doesn't strike fear into your heart. Then again, I guess Doc Ock doesn't really do it either. Anyway, so the reason, and here's how I think it would go down. what they do is that they make a rhino suit, and then what they do is they find out what made Spider-Man. He was bit by a radioactive spider. So what they would do is they would take a worthy candidate, like someone who's strong, worthy, shit like that, and they would inject him with rhino DNA, and he would be like stronger and stuff like that. But it would go wrong, and he would turn into a rhino, like Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he would still have consciousness, but he'd still have his like mind, but he'd still be a monster. He'd be a monster, and most of his intelligence would be gone. He'd still know how to talk, and he'd still understand things, but he wouldn't be as intelligent as he was. He would de-evolve. But he still has one goal: find and kill Spider-Man. So he'd do that. He'd fight Spider-Man. Bibbidi boop. But then Rhino would then lose it and go on a rampage, destroying the entire city, and all of New York would be being destroyed by what it created to defeat Spider-Man. And then Spider-Man would defeat Rhino. He would find a cure for him. He'd cure him. And then everyone would see, except Jane Jonah Jameson, that Spider-Man was cured. That Spider-Man was a good guy. But anyway. And another one that I want to see, another superhero, a villain I want to see, is Kraven. Kraven uses his skills to trap Spider-Man with nets, laser traps, and knockout gas. Kraven also to attack Spider-Man, Kraven uses knives, his laser spear, and sometimes guns. Usually he uses hunting rifles. But he is a formidable opponent either way. I think Kraven would be cool because we haven't seen him in a movie. Kraven may have powers, but as we can see with most of Spider-Man's villains, that doesn't really stop them. Now, Kraven would be cool because a lot of cool scenes could be set up. Because you see, what could happen is Spider-Man could follow Kraven to like his lair, and he would have to get to Kraven, he would have to make it through all these traps and stuff. And then once he finally gets there, he finds out that's just a hologram or something. And then Kraven jumps down, and then Annette flies. And then Kraven jumps down from above, kicking Spider-Man through like a curtain or a wall or something, and then falling into a net, and then falling into like a cage where it then gets gassed, and then Spider-Man gets knocked out. So, and that's just a scene. That's not how I think the movie would go. If I were to say how I think the movie's gonna go, then here's what I would say. I would say that the government of New York would want Spider-Man dead or taken care of, but they didn't know how to do it. But then Kraven, hearing of this, but then I'm not really sure. Either someone would suggest Kraven, or Kraven would walk into the room and announce a deal. You pay me, I kill Spider-Man. So then they say yes. And basically they just have their back and forth fighting. Spider-Man has his moment where he gets down. Maybe he gets a new suit, who knows? I mean, like, he gets a new suit almost like every movie he's in. Like, and tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead, you may try, but tell me I am wrong. Because in Civil War, you could see he got in Civil War you could see he was given a different suit than he was supposed to. Like, it was a new suit that we were all used to. In Infinity War, he got in Infinity War he got the Iron Spider suit. In Far From Home, we got to see his old suit, which to us was new, but whatever. And in Far From Home, he got two new suits, one black suit and one red suit with like black legs and shit. Anyway, so what would happen is and then Kraven, being desperate, he would try to lure Spider-Man in using civilians, threatening to blow them up with detonators. And upon those people will be the Prime Minister or whatever. I'm not sure. Are they like a president or what kind of higher president? Like the main person in charge, like the people of the government that hired Kraven would be part of that bunch. And then they realized they made a mistake. Spider-Man would swoop in and then defuse the bombs and defeat Kraven. But another thought is that they might also introduce Black Cat. And if you don't know who Black Cat is also known as Felicia Hardy. Wait. Yeah, that's right. I was confused. I thought I made a mistake. Anyway, so if that were the case, there'd also be a part where they fight because she wants Spider-Man's bounty. She falls in love, decides not to attack, to turn him in, and then she helps Spider-Man by defusing the bombs while he takes care of Kraven. But another thing that I'd like to see with Kraven is that him and Scorpion team up. If that were the case, it would go similar, but different. So the way it would go similar is that people needed someone to take care of Spider-Man. So what they did is they hired two bounty hunters. Kraven, who was a trained hunter, and Scorpion, who had a mechanical tail and claws. Because remember, Scorpion is not always a guy in a suit. He can also be like mutated, but he's not mutated. He just has mechanical like scorpion claws and a mechanical tail. But anyway, yeah. So and they would go attack and be basically the same thing, but while but be Black Cat and Spider-Man versus Kraven and Scorpion. But while Spider-Man is fighting Kraven's and Black Cat is defusing the bombs, once she gets to the last bomb, Scorpion sees what she's doing and then moves in. So then Scorpion and Felicia fight. And then Kraven, tired of Spider-Man, presses the button to blow the only detonator. So Felicia So what they do is Felicia grabs it and chucks it out the window, and then exploding outside. And then Spider-Man defeats both of them with the help of Black Cat, and then they realize Spider-Man's not a bad guy. Okay, I know that was like a long lecture. Like it was, but okay. So here's my final idea my final idea for the people, what would happen is the Sinister Six. The Sinister Six is a bad guy group made of Spider-Man villains. It usually consists of Electro, Doc Ock, Vulture, Rhino, and the Goblin. But it can also have bad guys, like Dr. Negative, Kraven, and like this picture shows, it can also have Carnage. It also sometimes has Venom. And sometimes Hydra Man as well. So the Sinister Six is like one of the coolest, is really cool because you see, it's basically a group of Spider-Man villains formed to defeat Spider-Man. At least that's the long and short of it. And there's a lot of heroes that could be in it. Villains, sorry. But my group of heroes that would be in it would consist of Doc Ock, Sandman, Rhino, Scorpion, Vulture, and the Beetle. And here's how I think it would go down. So, what would happen is they would want to release the villain. Is they'd want to have a group of people that could take care of Spider-Man. So they'd probably deal with so they'd probably get some super powered people to get. First, they would go to Dr. Octavius, tell him that they needed you to take care of someone. So what they do is they take care of someone for us. No, okay. So here's what would actually happen. Sorry. So what they do is they put a bounty on them, and then 6 superheroes would be the main villains. Would be the main phase. First, it'd be Scorpion, put in a mechanical suit, maybe with claws, to go after Spider-Man. Then, Dr. Octavius, who needed the money to fund his science, made himself used mechanical arms that he made a while back to go hunt down Spider-Man. Then the Rhino, who was made by the government, as I said when I was talking about how his story would go down, would be released to go would also go down to hunt Spider-Man. Sandman, a thief and criminal in hiding, would hear of this and go out to kill Spider-Man. Vulture would be released from prison to go would also be released from prison to go kill Spider-Man. Oh, did I get everyone? Sandman, Vulture, Doc Ock, Rhino. Vulture, Doc Ock, Rhino. Sandman, Scorpion, Vulture, Scorpion, Rhino, Sandman. Okay. And Beetle would use a suit that he once retired. He would use a mechanical suit that he bought from Tony Stark when he was making weapons. And it would always do a flashback. And then Spider-Man would be in this like alley or like a big place, like kind of like a parking garage. And then that's where they all clash. Vulture would swoop in first, and then Beetle would come crashing through up the ground, because the fight would be like, it would take them up a level. And then Rhino would come crashing through, throwing every car in his way, out of his way. Doc Ock would then coming down through the ground. And the reason I bring Doc Ock into this, because it's not really Sinister Six without him. Anyway. And then Doc Ock would then grab him and then Doc Ock would use his tentacles to burst down through the roof and then come down, landing on top of Spider-Man. And then when Spider-Man jumps away, then Scorpion jumps towards him and whips him out of the, and uses his tail to whip him out of the parking garage into a construction site. And then what Spider-Man would do is he'd use his whip to immobilize anyone, and just when he thought he was winning, Sandman would then rise from the ground and then kick and then hammer and then make his fist into a hammer, and then would hit Spider-Man so hard that he just goes flying away. And then what the Six would do is they'd work together. They'd decide to work together to hunt down Spider-Man. And then basically one leads to another. And what happens is they then use people as bait, because Vulture knows that Spider-Man will save people no matter what the risk. So he basically kidnapped a lot of people, including like the president, including the authorities that made Rhino and and the people that put up the bounty on Spider-Man, made Rhino and Scorpion. Well, I feel like the thing would say the same. So J. Jonah Jameson, the person that made Scorpion, would be there. or I don't really know. And then Beetle's family. I'm not really sure if Beetle has a family in like the comics, but in the show, but in the movie, it will make sense. Beetle doesn't really realize this at first, and then Spider-Man comes in and tries to fight. Spider-Man then almost loses, and yeah, I would still like it if Black Cat was there defusing the bombs. But then what happens is Beetle then realizes that his family's in danger. So what happens right before Scorpion's about to land the finishing blow, Beetle then shoots Scorpion. Beetle then raises his fists, because there's like guns in them, and then shoots both Sandman and Rhino. Shoots Sandman, which scatters him everywhere, and then also shoot I'm really bad at this, I'm sorry. Shoots. So Scorpion's gonna be the bow. Rhino, Vulture, Scorpion, Rhino, Doc Ock, Sandman. Okay. And as I was saying, shoots Sandman with a laser blast, and also shoots Vulture. It doesn't kill him though, because the blast hit his wing. Even the blast did knock him back, but it didn't kill him, and it damaged his wings a little bit. He then grabs Scorpion's tail, yanks him off, and then punches Doc Ock. He then presses a button on one of his gauntlets, and then deactivates all the bombs. Beetle then apologizes to Spider-Man for what he tried to do just for some silly old money. Spider-Man forgives him, and then they start fighting. They win, but Scorpion gotta hit Beetle wounding him strongly. Sadly, Beetle doesn't survive, but he has a statue monumented to him, and then Spider-Man does give us, and then people start to believe Spider-Man's good again. But what J. Jonah Jameson then believes is that Spider-Man was only part of the Sinister Six. He only played along with Beetle for a charade, a scam, or something like that. You know Jameson, always making up dumb shit with no logic or reason. But anyway, so that's my theories. Those are my theories and my hopes. They're more my hopes and expectations, but it's not really something I'm like expecting to happen, especially the story part. That's definitely not going to happen, especially not word for word. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you leave a like and comment what's your favorite like villain. It doesn't matter if it's DC or Marvel. And and if you're new, make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. It really helps me out. And like always, I hope you enjoy. Corey Price signing out. Goodbye.